Kansas City 1. Nick Wright, co-host First Things First, joins us live. What? What?
That was so nice. It was just delightful just listening to you wax poetic about a team that, was going to have its hands full with your beloved Russell Wilson and those plucky Chargers. But I mean, you nailed it. The fact that the Chiefs have been awful either by luck or by their own doing when it comes to turnovers this year.
Yeah.
That they are bottom 6 in the league in plus minus, and they have the second best, the best record in the AFC, the third best record overall in football. And by the way, here's the other thing. Strength of schedule, they have the 31st most difficult schedule the rest of the way, Colin.
Yeah.
They played 8 straight games to start the year against teams the previous year at a winning record. They got through at 6-2. So all their toughest games, except for the game against Cincinnati, already behind them. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said about the Chiefs. I wish you were saying it this offseason, but better late than never, I suppose, my friend.
I'm slow on stuff. So I said this. Let's just say this. If Brian Daboll is maybe as good as we think, I mean, I was out on Daniel Jones, and now, I don't know. If he is that good, can we make the argument that Josh Allen will never be Josh Allen again? College, wild. Early Buffalo, wild. Now, wild. And it was this brilliant offensive guy that sandpapered him, and now he's reverting back to what he was, which is, oh, my Lord, he's taking huge swings. He's not accurate. I mean, my takeaway is Josh is amazing. But if you look at how good Daboll is, you may never duplicate that again. You may never get another Brian Daboll in Buffalo.
Well, I also think it's worth noting that Josh Allen has been a Pro Bowl level player 1 year. Last year, Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl. Josh Allen did not. This year, Patrick Mahomes would be a Pro Bowler. Tua would be a Pro Bowler. I would have Burrow and Lamar ahead of Josh as of this moment.
Yeah.
That would put him 5th in his own conference. I understand everyone is wowed by the athleticism and the arm talent, and he is, and I have said this and I will say it again, he is the only quarterback in the league outside of possibly Lamar that if they are playing their very best, they can match Mahomes' very best.
Yeah. His
A-plus game is as good as anybody. The problem is you have no idea if you're going to get it. And he leads the NFL in interceptions. He's 3rd in the NFL in interceptions plus fumbles. He leads the NFL double second place in interceptions or fumbles in the red zone. This is a trend for this team and for Josh. And so, yeah, it's why I pushed back so hard on this idea that he was the best player in the league. He has moments when he looks like the best player in the league,
sure,
and then moments when he reverts back to a guy who in the first playoff game of his life was running down the sideline, panicked, and threw the ball blindly over the back of his head. Some people forget that, Colin. I will never forget that. That is a moment where I'm like, okay, I kind of know who you are and who you are at your core. And one last thing for the Bills. It would be concerning to me if I were a fan of the Bills that what is arguably the best playoff game we have seen in the last decade, and what is arguably the best regular season game we have seen in the last few years, the Bills were in both of them and found a way to lose them both when they were 99% to win them both at one point. That would concern me.
Yeah, Packers and Vikings were both lifeless, and the Bills kind of injected life into them in those games. So I watched the Cowboys, and I said, it's the $50,000 millionaire. Flashy car, but if you followed him home, he lives in an apartment. That Dallas, there's a lot of flash and splash, but when you get to the core of them, Dak situationally has been awful. You can run on them. We don't trust McCarthy situationally. And I watched it and I said, this is kind of why I've been a Cowboy cynic. I think mostly you have for 20 years, is that there's a lot of things on the surface, but when you dig deep or follow them home, it's a lot of fraudulent stuff. What was your takeaway on their loss?
Well, two things. One is, I don't know if that was an intentional play on words or not, but I used to live in Houston.
Yeah.
And what you just described, the $50,000 millionaire, is there's a little Houston-Dallas rivalry, is what people from Houston say about people from Dallas all the time. That exact thing. So I don't know if you knew that, and that's why you're calling the Cowboys that, or it's just a happy coincidence, but it made me smile. Now, to the Packers game. If you had 3 concerns for the Cowboys going into the Packers game, they would have been, number one, our defense has been historically great. Is it maybe not quite that good? Well, that showed up in the Packers game.
Right.
You're supposed to forget the run defense. Yeah, we've got folks saying Micah Parsons is Lawrence Taylor 2.0. And you have the Packers down 14 in a 4th and 7. And you let Aaron Rodgers throw a seed down the field and all of a sudden spark the comeback. So a small concern about the dominant defense, check. Concern number 2 would have been Dak Prescott. Is he going to make the critical error? I think Green Bay, Colin, might have folded up shop if the Cowboys went up 2 scores immediately in that game. Green Bay went missed field goal, 3 and out, fumble. And Dallas was up 7-0 inside the 10 after the fumble, and Dak threw a really bad pick, which breathed some life into Green Bay. Then he threw another pick later. So there's check 2. And check 3 is, of course, Mike McCarthy. And here's my hypothesis on why McCarthy decided, because it's not just that they went for it on 4th down, Colin. It's that he claimed afterwards they knew they were going for it on 4th down, which if that's true, how you don't run the ball on 3rd down. You have 3rd and 3. If you know it's 2-down territory, Tony Pollard's getting 5.5 yards per carry. How do you not give him the ball? But the reason I think McCarthy didn't kick the field goal there was because he was afraid of Aaron Rodgers. Because he made this game very personal and I think very much about his history there. And if they kick the field goal, even if they make it, you're guaranteeing Aaron Rodgers gets the ball back. If you go for it and you get it and you score a touchdown, you keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. For a team that is supposed to be defense first, you're supposed to kick that field goal and trust that an offense that hadn't done anything for 2 months is not going to get a touchdown scored on them. So, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And last point, with the Eagles' loss last night, if Dallas had taken care of business against Green Bay, they'd control their own destiny for that division. They'd be at 2 losses with the game against Philly coming up. So it's a brutal loss for them.
So it's they're not a popular team. The Kyrie Irving situation, well documented and discussed. But he missed his 7th straight game, I think it was, recently.
7 will be tonight.
7 will be tonight.
He's not playing tonight. It'll be 7 tonight.
My argument, I said a year ago, for the first time in my life, my whole career, I said, I'm going to say something. I've never said this. I would trade a star for rotational players. He's a culture and coach killer. And Kevin Durant is just lifting the team, he pulls them back. Lifting the team, he pulls them back. I would have moved off him. I think he's a losing player. They're actually much better defensively and at times offensively without Kyrie. I don't know. It's combustible. I think other teams are interested, but there's so much baggage. If I had to say, what happens to Kyrie for the next year, Nick Wright? You have season tickets. You know the organization. You watch every game. How's this going to play out?
I think it's on the board he never plays again for the Nets. I think that there's a lot of factors at that. One is they've flatly been better without him.
Yeah.
They play defense without him. They let KD do this point forward thing. They play. Now, part of that, I'm sure, is that Jacques Vaughn is there. But I do not think for the Brooklyn Nets he adds to winning. You then add to the fact that Kevin Durant, all of it last week, had to send out a tweet because he had given an unfortunate, comment in a media scrum where he was like, I wish the organization had just, stayed quiet. And all of a sudden, KD, everyone in the organization is, being tangentially kind of quizzed and queried on their feelings on anti-Semitism, which nobody signed up for. And you mentioned that I have season tickets. Joe Tsai, obviously, either goes to these games or is people going to these games, the owner of the team. Ever since the Kyrie stuff blew up, when you get off the train on Atlantic Avenue to go into Barclays, you have can only be, what are people demonstrating, passing out literature about that is either tangentially or directly related to that movie Kyrie promoted. It's a mess, man. And I don't think the Nets want to be in that business, particularly for a player that I do not think has added to their winning at all.
Yeah.
And in fact, Kyrie in his last 6 years in this league, his teams, when he plays and when he doesn't play, it's over 6 years, they win almost the exact same percentage of games. So I don't think the Nets are a championship team with or without him, but they have shown more of a heart and pulse without him. I would not be surprised if they simply move on from him. Again, it was a 5-game suspension. He's not traveling with the team tonight. That's game number 7. Something's going on there.
By the way, I only have a minute left. You're an encyclopedia on the NBA. And I'm going to throw this at. We were talking, KD said LeBron's one of the best players ever, 2 or 3. Yep. And I said everybody makes lists. You make pyramids, lists. You're great at this stuff. But I said if you said the 4 best basketball players, because we always say the Mount Rushmore thing, the 4 best players I've seen, and you have to have watched them in their prime. So I can't count Wilt. I didn't see him in his prime. The 4 best players I've ever seen, I'm going to give them to you, and you react. Kareem, no order.
Yep.
Kareem, Michael, LeBron, Magic. Everybody else
That's correct.
Okay, so
you have it right.
Okay.
You have it right.
All right.
And by the way, I think that is the correct order for all of NBA history. With respect to Russell, I think Russell would be the odd man out there.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing about KD's comments. KD said top 2 and then paused and went top 3. I do not believe that's because he was including Kareem. I believe that's because KD was including Kobe. KD and Kobe had a very tight relationship. I think KD has a respect for Kobe's game that's different than the respect he has for LeBron's. I think KD and again, I'm speculating here. Kevin, don't get upset. But I think that on a truth serum, KD's top 3 would be Michael, Kobe, LeBron. Yeah. I think that, of course, is ludicrous. There is no argument about the top 3. It is in one order or another. Kareem, Michael, and LeBron. Yeah. We can argue about the order. Number 4, there is an argument, but I agree with you. I think it's Magic Johnson. And, I obviously didn't see Kareem in his prime, but like you said, I tried to write a book on it. Instead, I did a podcast series on it. I'm pretty well studied. That's the correct top 4. So look, Colin, you started the segment being right about the Chiefs. You end the segment with an impeccable NBA list. You always say that you mentor me. The relationship might be flipping a bit. Might be a little turnabout, my friend.
Oh, that happened a long time ago. I rely on your wisdom all the time, if people only knew. Nick Wright, pal. First things first. Great show, by the way. They're off to a great start. New York, Kevin Wildes, Broussard, Nick Wright. Really fun show. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.